Welcome, you guys, to the Best Damn Coach show. Today, I'm very excited to geek out on a conversation around sales, one of my favorite things to talk about. But Jillian Murphy is joining us, who is known as the Sales Queen. And if you follow her on social, which if you don't, you should after this episode for sure, you can learn so much just about, I think, selling unapologetically and learning how to lean into authentic and organic ways to sell and show up in your business. So thank you for joining us.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. I'm such a fan of you and your community, and I'm so excited to be here today to pour into you and your audience. So thank you again for having me.
Awesome. Sales is a pain point, right? Because for vast majority of us that are service providers, we may come with zero selling experience. And also at the heart, one of the beliefs around that I see many coaches have is I'm not a salesperson, I'm a coach.
Yeah.
And so we're going to get more into that. But I'd love for you to share with the audience just how you got to here, kind of your background and your journey to do what you do now, so they know the context of why you're so good at what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So interestingly enough, I was not a salesperson. I went to college for law enforcement, quick little backstory. And I was actually, and like I was doing an internship, and my parents were like, you need to go get like a summer internship. And I actually went and got a job in sales, and I quickly fell in love with it. So I was not somebody who loved selling, but I loved people. And I was doing it, and I was like, I love how we just get to like help people literally all day. And from this, you literally get to make an incredible income. And that's really how I fell in love with sales. So 22 years, I actually was in the sales industry. I started as an entry level salesperson, worked my way up. I was in a very masculine sales industry. I was actually the only female in my organization since 1963. So that's really where I was at. And then during the pandemic, unfortunately, I lost my corporate job. And I always say this on many podcasts, or really if you've ever heard me before, I was a diehard corporate person. If I could have like tattooed my name of my corporation across my forehead, I would have. So I was someone who loved corporate. And then unfortunately, I lost my corporate job, a very successful corporate job during the pandemic. And I, whatever your belief is, God, universe, whatever, I knew that I had a God given talent for sales and I could help people in the online space. So I quickly shifted. I started a Facebook group super randomly, super organically, and just started showing up and doing these very quick 9, 8, 10-minute videos on how I could help people sell. And by the hundreds, people started joining my Facebook group. And then from there, people started saying, like, can you help me? Can you help me teach? Can you help me do this? And it really just kind of spiraled from there. And that's now how I've grown my business. And I've helped over 500 entrepreneurs grow and scale their businesses, and have helped thousands of people inside my group coaching program. And that's kind of how I got here.
It's so amazing. I love that
Yeah.
opportunity sometimes presents itself. And in the moment, it feels like trash because you're like,
Yes.
I love this job.
Yeah.
And then hindsight, you can now look back, I'm sure, and go, oh my gosh, this path was totally laid out for me. Everything I've been
Absolutely.
working on in my life has led to this moment.
Yeah.
So cool. I mean, I feel similar, right? I didn't ever set out to be an entrepreneur, but my whole life since I was 15 has been about people and coaching. And now I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, it didn't make sense that this like master's degree didn't pan out to what I'm doing now, but now I see like the whole pathway so clearly.
Yeah. And you're probably so much happier in what you're doing now.
Oh yeah, it's night and day. And
Yeah.
it's not even it's the people, it's the finances, those are great, but it's the freedom
It
and
is.
flexibility that is just so powerful for me personally. So let's just go right into it because there's a lot of questions that I have queued up that I would love to dive into based
Sure.
on what I hear from my clients most often. What I've struggled with too, coming from a no sales background too, is, I mean, how do we as coaches also acknowledge that we are salespeople? Like, how do we shift and reframe the belief system that in order to be successful at coaching, actually we have to sell?
Yeah. So I want you to ask yourself right now, if you're listening to this podcast and you are the best damn coach, do you truly believe that you are the best damn coach? Do you believe in your soul, in your gut, that you can truly help somebody with what it is that you have? And if you do, if you say, hell yes, absolutely yes, why are you not sharing that message with somebody? Whether you are a mindset coach, a fitness coach, a business coach, a sales coach, whatever it is in front of that best damn coach that you are or that you are looking to be, if you believe it, you should be sharing it. And this is what I love to say to my clients. You have got to be your first sale. You have got to be so sold on what it is that you're doing, because as an entrepreneur, especially in the online space, you're going to have ebbs and flows. You're going to have months that you feel like a rock star. And then you're going to have months that you ask yourself, like, should I go get a job at Target? Nothing wrong with getting a job at Target, but you're going to have months that you feel like nobody is buying. And you've got to have that belief in yourself that you still are that best damn coach when people are buying and when people aren't buying.
Yeah, so good. I like that question or I like the statement you said of be your first sale, because if you are not freaking selling yourself, then guess what? Nobody else is going to be interested.
No, because the biggest thing in sales is the majority of people who are buying from you are not confident in whatever the problem is, right? So maybe you're a health coach and they're not confident in their health, or you're a sales coach and they're not confident in their sales, or you're a business coach and they're not confident in their business. So if they're not confident and you're not confident, there's this like back and forth of like, well, I'm not confident and you're not confident, and nothing ever happens. So you have got to be so confident that the person on the other end who's not confident knows that you have them, right? Every time somebody slides into my DMs and is like, oh, I'm not really sure if I can grow my sales, as soon as they talk to me, they're like, I know she's got me. I know that Jillian Murphy has me, that she can help me grow my sales because I'm sold in my ability to help them with sales, right? So if you're sold in it, your audience feels so safe that you have them.
Yeah, so easy. It boils down to belief, right? Selling boils down to self-belief. So let's talk a little bit of strategy around that. So assuming we're like, all right, my belief is on point. I know I am the best solution for my clients. One of the questions I hear often is like, what's the cadence for selling? How often should I be selling? Should I be selling every day? So could you just speak to more to your philosophy around that and what you
Yeah.
seem to be most effective?
Yeah. So one is it's going to be based on how often do you really want to make money? I mean, if the online space is going to be $1 billion a day industry. So I want you to think about this. A lot of people go and they say, well, like, I don't want to feel salesy or I don't want to feel slimy. Like it feels like I'm really talking to nauseum about my offers. It feels like it to you. But as soon as they scroll past you, they're going to Amanda, they're going to Rebecca, they're going to Jake, they're going to Nick. We are being inundated all day long with offers, masterclasses, free masterclasses, webinars, all the things, right? So you have to literally have to be talking about your offers all of the time and with such excitement and with such confidence in them. So if you are only talking about your offer once a week and the coach next to you is talking about it 7 times a week, they're hearing the other person 6 times as much. So that's what I really want you to think about. It's like the days of just being able to kind of be like, oh, here's my offer, here's my masterclass, show up, those don't really work anymore because the market is so much more saturated. I mean, I talk about things so much that I'm like, oh my gosh, if I have to talk about this again, like I'm going to poke my eyes out. And then people in my audience are like, oh, I didn't even know that you had that going on right now. We think that we're talking about it so much, but we're really not.
Yeah.
Also, you're getting new people every day that follow you. And half the people that are following you, honestly, have you on mute. So they're not even actually listening to you and your stories and all the things. So I would honestly talk about your offers as much as you possibly can.
Yeah. So can we talk about the tangible then of what does that look and sound like? So I want to maybe chunk this out because
Yeah.
one of my philosophies is like, don't put all your eggs in the social media basket, right? So
Yeah.
I teach like really important, like I wouldn't, there's ways in different platforms to market yourself outside of social media specifically, but what does that tangibly look like? So
Yeah.
maybe we could use Instagram as a starting place. So for you specifically, are you talking about a coaching offer every single day or multiple times a day? Or what can you give tangible to them so they can
Yeah.
kind of have a place?
Yeah. So I love to teach intangible. So for an example, if I'm like right now, I'm currently launching a mastermind, right? So we'll just use this because it's a tangible example. I might talk about the mastermind every day on my stories, but it's not going to be join my mastermind. It's not going to be sign up for my mastermind. It's not even going to be the graphic every day. It's going to be lots of like laid back conversations like, hey guys, I wanted to share with you somebody joined the mastermind today. Or this is the importance of joining a mastermind. This is something I learned in a mastermind. Hey, a question came up about the mastermind, and then maybe I'll share a graphic. So it's a lot of like conversational things that I'm dropping without just always saying like link in bio, DM me, right? So I think a lot of times people think that when they're selling, it always has to be like sign up, join the link, buy now. It doesn't have to always be like that. It can just be things that are kind of married in. So today, for an example, on my stories, it's always a circus on my stories. I'm selling multiple things at a time. So even today, just again, tangible, I shared out a masterclass that I'm selling. I shared out my mastermind, and I shared out one-on-one coaching all today on my stories. It's 4:27 in the afternoon, but none of them were like buy now. It was just like, hey guys, don't forget this Friday, I have a free masterclass. If this is for you, if this is something that you're struggling with in your business, send me a DM. Then I was like, hey, somebody joined the mastermind. If this is something that you're interested in, let me give you some information. And then I was like, hey, I just wrapped up my last one-on-one coaching call with somebody, which means I will have spots available in April. So it's very much just like conversational, not always like join now, buy now.
Absolutely. But the idea being is like we have clarity that Jillian has offers and she wants to work with people in some capacity, right? And I think that's an assumption that we make as coaches, practitioners is, well, I'm a coach. They know I'm selling something. And the reality is a lot of us, for our ideal clients, they're completely oblivious that the coaching world even exists. They've never experienced it, right? So we have to be like chalkboard in the face sometimes, like here's your sign that they know that there is an offer for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I think that kind of hits on like the organic piece, right? Be a human about it and just talk about context that surround it as well. I'm curious, for somebody, especially our newer people that are just starting to coach, starting to show up in sales, and they're not getting any sales. Like, what would you say to that person that's like, I've been doing this and I swear I'm talking about it. What would you say to the person that says, yeah, I'm still not having any results?
Yeah. So I think that there's a couple things. One is really looking in the mirror. And this one might be a little bit of a gut punch for you if you're listening to this podcast. It's like really looking in the mirror and like, what does that really mean when you say you're doing all the things, right? Because I know a lot of people come to me and they're like, hey, Jillian, I've been in this online space for 3 months and I'm doing everything and nothing is happening. And I'm like, well, what does that really look like? And they're like, well, I'm posting content on social media. Okay, that's not doing everything in order to do it, right? So again, in sales, there's the whole sales cycle. There's prospecting, there's nurturing, there's connecting, there's creating really good content. There is putting your offers out there. There's follow-up, right? So again, the days of just putting out a piece of content and hoping that somebody slides into your DM and throws their credit card at you, those days are gone, right? There's a little bit more work that has to be done. So I think getting really clear of like, what are you actually doing is good. The other thing is like, just because we put out an offer once, twice, 20 times does not mean that it's always a bad offer, right? It's like, I have a lot of people that launch something once, that launch something twice, that launch something 3-4 times. That doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that we have to go back and we have to tweak things. Maybe it's the messaging, maybe it's the marketing, maybe it's the timing, right? So there's also other things to look at. And then we don't just shift because something didn't work, right? I was talking to one of my coaching clients today and she's in corporate sales. This is a great example. She's in corporate sales and she's like, when I was in corporate sales, after about a year, it really started to flow. I started to get more POs. I started to really make some money. And I said, can we just take a time out really quick? I said, you just told me that you're really frustrated that you've been online for 3 months and nothing's happening. So why do you expect it to like happen overnight online? But in the real world, it doesn't happen like this. So unfortunately, I think that in this online space, we are like in this fairy tale world that we just come online and we throw up a couple pieces of content and we put out an offer and we expect things to work. It doesn't really happen that way. So I think it's really like remembering that it doesn't work like that. And it does take lots of ebbs and flows. And you will have, if you remember anything from this podcast episode, you will have more failed launches than you have successful ones. And it's about finding the ones that are successful and then rinsing and repeating those.
Yeah, hands down, right? Stop fixing what's not broken is what I tell my clients often. And yeah, that gap between expectation and reality, because we come into the online space like back in the good old days, like we didn't have 24/7 access to businesses. We didn't get to see behind the scenes. We had like the freaking yellow pages and we had to like go find somebody and we had no idea what was happening. So there was just no measure of outward success, right? And what seems to be isn't always reality. And so it creates, I think, these crazy, expectations of like we got to put in our time and keep going. But you said something in that whole statement that I want to like reverse and go back to too, is this notion of prospecting and relationships and connection. Can you speak a little bit to, what does prospecting mean to you? And why is that an important part of the sales process cycle?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to go back really quick on one more thing. So I just left a mastermind that I was in actually, and Dean Graziosi came in and spoke to us. And from the words of Dean Graziosi, he said, if you have built an online business in the last 2 years, I want you to remember that you basically started at like third base because the world was so different the last 2 years ago. So, you might have had really good success the last 2 years ago. And now the economy shifted, things have shifted, right? So know that like we are also going into a different climate right now. And it is a little bit harder, and selling is harder for everyone. So if you're listening to this podcast right now and you feel like it's a little bit harder to sell, know that it's normal and everybody is feeling it right now. Okay. So going back to the prospecting. Prospecting is so key in your sales cycle because regardless of your business, whether you are a gym or realtor or brick and mortar, anything, you need to have people in your pipeline in order to sell to. So for me, what this looks like in a very tangible thing is I am bringing people into my world every single day. Even with the business that I have today, with my audience being so hot, I spend 1 hour every single day. It is a non-negotiable. I literally do not go to bed until this is done every day. I spend an hour of outbound engagement. And what does this look like? It is an hour of outbound engagement with my current community. So this can be a couple different things. It can be people that are already following me, because remember, if you have 1,000 people following you or 100 people following you or 100,000, it doesn't matter. Not all those people know what you have going on right now. Only people that know what you really have going on.
They see your content.
They don't see your content, right? So I'll give you a great example. I have 4,000 people that follow me, and I have like 200 people that watch my stories. So there's 3,800 people that potentially have already opted into me, have already at one point decided they wanted to follow me, but they have no freaking idea what I have going on right now. A masterclass, a webinar, anything, right? So I spend time getting to know them, revisiting them, commenting on their stories, engaging in their content. This is a non-negotiable. So that is pillar number one. And then the other one is like, who is my ideal client? Are they business coaches? Are they sales coaches? Are they content coaches? I go and I connect with them, not in a weird, spammy, hey girl message, but like, who are they and how can I go and just connect with them? Because I always want to be bringing new people into my world. Again, I don't just put up content and hope that people are going to see my stuff and slide into my DMs and throw me their credit cards. That would be nice, but that's not how it works.
Yeah. It's really assessing too, inside our community. One of the things we talk about is what is common is not necessarily right for you. Yeah. And if it feels common that content curation is where people are spending their time and you think you should be, there is way more daily actions that are going to move the needle in your business than writing a cool Canva graphic inside of Instagram, right? Yeah. It's what are we doing behind the scenes, the unsexy work that nobody sees, forward facing every day, that's building and nurturing the people that we can serve.
Yeah, I say this all the time. You guys, I do so much unsexy work that like, even again, at this stage in my business, people are like, I can't believe that you still do that. Yeah, because exactly what Amanda said at the beginning of this podcast, I'm not trying to fix what's not broken. I still do the same things that got me to the business that I have today. So if outbound engagement got me to where I am today, why would I do something different? If going to weekly networking calls for free got me to where I am today, I still do it. If going on podcasts got me engagement, I'm still going to do it. I'm not going to try to reinvent the wheel every single week. I'm going to double down on the things that are already working.
Hands down. So amazing. Um, can we wrap up with just one, like maybe
Absolutely.
tangible is for somebody who's struggling in sales right now, what do you feel like is the most bang for their buck action step that they should take to make, strides towards upping sales or being more confident in sales, whatever you would say to that?
Yeah, I would say the biggest bang for their buck is just making sure that one, again, they're sold on their offer and making sure their offer is out there. You know, ask yourself right now, if somebody came to your page, would they know what you offer? Would they know how they can buy from you? And would they know why you're the best at what it is that you do? Like do a little check right now. And I think that's the biggest thing. If sales aren't coming in, sometimes we just have to look and see, like, do people actually know how to buy from you right now?
Mhm, mhm. I love it. Amazing. All right, can you share with our people where they can come connect with you and learn more
Absolutely.
about how to be amazing at sales?
Yeah, amazing. So, first of all, just come over and say hello to me on Instagram. I love putting out tons of free content. So, come over and say hello at the Jillian Murphy. I also have a podcast, Sales and Social, where I drop tons of just free value on sales. And then I have a free Facebook group where I do free training almost every day. And we can drop that link inside of the show notes. So, thank you so much.
Amazing. I am so grateful for, I love the belief work and love all the tangible tips. So I think that it's easy to implement everything that Jillian said. Anything that she mentioned too, by the way, will be dropped inside the show notes. And as always, don't just sit with the content and be stuck in passive action. Take what she shared today and go apply it to create massive results. So we will see you guys all next week.
Thank you so much, guys.